I definitely do not miss the retail store. Jesus Christ. I used to work for Sports Authority, man. Before Sports
Oh God.
Yeah, I used to work there. I used to work in the footwear department, and I get also all sorts of people, man. Like from the most nicest people to the most obnoxious. Like shit can go any day from 0 to 100 real quick, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? Like I was just talking to this nice person outside. I got this asshole screaming at me. Like, what the fuck is going on here, bro?
Luckily, with Publixes, they have freezers in the back for a reason. Just in case you need to let out a good fuck.
Yo, yeah.
In my earlier days, there was a lot of times where I utilized that cooler. Now, not so much because I've grown a much thicker skin to it. But back then, there was a lot of times I would just have to let some steam off.
Yep, that kind of makes sense, especially when you're here in Florida, man. That you.
Oh yeah.
You once in a while you definitely need a place where you could be happy in your mind, so that way you don't snap and fight back and become another Florida man story.
Yeah, like it definitely is good to let out aggression every now and then, but in like a healthy way, like screaming in a freezer or going to a rage room or something like that. Like it's therapeutic.
It really is.
To be able to do that.
It really is. Hey, I consider my podcast therapeutic as well, because I'm lucky enough to be able to just splat out every other fucking secret and knowledge that I know about the industry and every other bullshit I deal every day, and when I just splat it out. And then when I talk to people like you, I get like, my itch out. Like it's like, thank God I already did so. I talked to somebody that can have a conversation,
Yeah, and it's a lot better when there is like a person who actually like engages in conversation and like talk back, like rebuttals and stuff.
Right.
Because there are sometimes like some interviews that I've seen like where you could just tell they're dead and don't want to do it.
Because it's all Q&A, and
yeah, it's usually like Q&A, and it's just like a lot of it's like the same questions that they'll ask everyone or that they'll hear a lot. A lot of it isn't answers. A lot of it isn't actual substance to it. I guess is the right word.
Right.
Like you can ask questions and then we'll go on a tangent in a conversation and then it'll relay into another question and it just seems normal, versus like corporate interviews. It's just like, oh, what's this? What's coming up? Like all that stuff. And it's just like, shut up. Like, we know you're faking it.
See, that's exactly what distinguished my podcast from the others. And I, like I said in previous episodes, like I'm not trying to put shade on the other podcasts. Everybody has their own thing and their own system. If it works, it works. That's fine. But that's what makes the difference between my show and others. It's because I literally bring authenticity to the show. I bring an interesting conversation to somebody and let people listen to their stories, because normally not many people are open to tell some of their darkest secrets, and for some reason I make them feel comfortable enough to tell me those stories and let it out air in the public, That's why I enjoy my process as a podcaster, as I started out from the beginning to where I am right now. It's like, holy shit, like I'm so happy, like the evolution of it, and I'm happy that I'm able to talk to these individuals, and not make them feel like this is just a typical podcast interview. You just answer some questions and whatnot, and let's be done with it. Like, no, there's like I try to find a connection, try to find some flame in between us so we can, what you think, bounce ideas instead of, it's like beep, pop, beep, pop, beep.
Yeah, it's basically like a full-fledged like Super Bowl match versus just an average game of ping pong where no one wants to do it.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Like when there's authenticity into it, like it's great. And it's also like you mentioned earlier, like people will just share like a lot of stuff that they don't really ever get to tell about themselves.
Yeah, no, you have like, to work your way out. You have to make them feel comfortable enough for them to actually say some of these stuff. You know, like I have like people here telling me that they used to be drug addicts, they used to be on rehab, they used to be homeless, they used to have a mental depression, they gone to darker places. There's shits that happen and this and that. And I'm like, holy fuck. Like, yo, you sure you want to talk about this? Like, yeah, you're good. All right, we could keep it going. I don't even force them upon that.
Well, yeah, because like when people like that, like, you know, because no one is subjected to just be like the perfect 24/7. Oh, right. Life is great. No, everyone goes through shit, myself included. Right. And it's just like, you know, though when you learn those things about people, like you can see how they've changed to who they are now.
Right. And you like can relate to them.
Yeah. Like me currently, like I'm like stone cold sober for what is it? June, July. Like we'll say like a year and 3 months now.
Wow. Congratulations.
Like no drinking, none, like nothing. That's like great. Occasionally like I think the only times I've had any sort of alcohol, especially alcohol, in that time period was when I was over in Europe. And that was just because I wanted to go have a drink in a London pub. Like it makes sense. And then in Paris, you're in Paris. You can't not at least have one glass of wine. And it's one of those, and like not drinking for so long, you get, obviously your tolerance is lowered, so I only just stuck to one, but I felt like, you know, groovy for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
But you also realize how much money you're saving.
Tell me about it.
Like I go to shows now and all I just get is like a water and a Sprite.
Yep.
Like
basically.
Like, and depending on whoever the bartender is, it's like depending on what type of show it is. If it's like a small scale show, like, and they'll just put water in like a cup or whatever, they usually just give it to me for free. So the amount of money I save on that alone is great.
Absolutely. And I do the same thing, bro. I think like I'll tell you when I stopped drinking altogether as well. It was back when I started working at the Clevelander Hotel in South Beach. That's around the same time that I was working with Apex and Committee and Live at Color, and then starting my whole journey as a producer and whatnot. 2015, yeah, because my job was basically every weekend, 12-hour shifts. So you're working from 5 to 5 every weekend. So imagine everybody goes out on the weekends, nobody goes out on the weekdays. So I have no drinking buddies. So I basically stopped drinking altogether. And every time I go to a festival or a show, it's water for me, man. I'm good with water. And, and for time to time, I do drink a few beers, but I don't drink anymore. Like I don't drink anymore to go shit wasted. Now I'm like every 2 months, I'll probably have a beer and watch out, and that's it. Only one beer.
Yeah, like nowadays, it's like. It's one of those things where it's like you don't need, like you really don't need to drink. Like
right,
it's
exactly.
Not like it's one of those things that takes away from what other things you could be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it really, at least for me, it really started to get bad around like the pandemic period where,
right.
I was like working, couldn't really go to shows, but like, still have the music stuff and just, doing like staying at home. And it's just like, all right, I'll have some beers or whatever. All right, I'll have a beer or whatever. And then when things started opening up, then it was like, all right, like we have a place that serves like craft beer, like 80 different kinds on tap. So we're just like, all right, like me and my ex at the time, we would go, like she would come down, we would work out together and go there to, have a few beers, drink, get tipsy, whatever. But when it comes to a cycle like that, it just ruins your fucking mental health. And it got really bad for me last year, we'll say like May or June,
right,
somewhere around there, where it was just like, you know, depression plus alcohol equals, haha, you know,
yeah,
you want to do the whole unalive yourself.
yeah,
So it got to a point, and it got to that point, I was just like, the next morning I woke up and I felt like shit. And I saw like what was a piece of paper that was like somewhere on my desk or whatever. And when I read that now, it's just like, holy shit, I don't ever want to go back to that place.
mm-hmm.
It was at that moment where I was like, all right, I need to kind of stop, like
Lay low,
change,
yeah,
like change shit. And it worked out for the better. Like,
good,
like I got back to figuring out what I wanted to do with the whole DJing and music stuff.
right,
I got to a point where I wanted to like try and move up even further with Publix to like get to like be able to want to become essentially a manager. And I found more like new hobbies and interests. Like I go to arcades every now and then, like the one up in Melbourne, occasionally one in Miami. And then aside from that, like getting into things that I wanted to, but never just could find the people to do it with. Like Dungeons and Dragons, for example. Like I got into that recently. So it's just like, you know, when you take away one part of your life, you add another thing to it that equally fills that void.
yes, yes.
A lot of people don't realize that. And it's just like they just constantly go drinking and they're doing stuff, but are they actually liking it? Or is it like something else that's telling them that they should like it?
Hit the nail in the coffin on that, man.
Yeah, because it was around that time when I stopped too. It's like, you know, don't get me wrong, like going back to the whole dubstep, it's like that's when I kind of made the transition to start doing more of the other genres, like drum and bass and hard dance and adding more to a house library. It's like those are what I grew up listening to for the most part through like DDR, video games, like stuff like that. So to be able to bring it full circle into doing that and being able to showcase that to people, it's like, shit, my inner child's happy. And like, I think next week is going to be like the big, like, well, not, I shouldn't say next week, I should say Sunday. It's going to be like the big moment where it's just like, this is all coming full circle to where like this shit's actually taking me to what I want to do.
Fire.
And who knows, maybe if I pull a big enough crowd at the mark, because the stage I'm on is like in the campgrounds, and I'm on before the festival starts. So there's no other music going around. Everyone's going to be walking through and being able to hear it. If I retain like a decent enough crowd,
yeah,
that could potentially get the eyes of some people and just be like, hey, do this next year.
Yeah.
But inside the festival.
Yeah.
So that'll be like that full circle moment.
That's fucking fire to hear, man.
Yeah.
And I can relate. I can relate to that shit, bro, because when I was down in my deep depression, I was in a dark place, man, and nothing was making me happy. Not even making music, bro. Not even making music was making me happy because I felt so much pressure behind it that I felt like I need to please people first before I please myself. And that was a big mistake.
Yeah.
Like a mistake is like put enough pressure to say like, fuck, I've met these certain people. I need to make something so I can send it over, or else, you know, they're going to forget about me and this and that. And like, it was just so bad. And I was living on a shitty place. I had a shitty job. So it was just like, so many things were accumulating all at the same time. And before you know it, I got myself out of there by what you said, you know, doing stuff that makes you happy, doing stuff that, you know, replaces one thing to another that fills the void in that's in your hole. And that's where I said, you know, playing Yu-Gi-Oh competitively, going to the locals, fucking love it, man. I fucking love doing that. Playing Pokemon games, in the Nintendo Switch, or doing the Pokemon Go. Going out with my cousins, watching the fucking Marvel movies every fucking Sunday or so, like making something cool, hanging out around with my fiance, doing cool shit, like, all the time, it's stuff like that, that when it fills up the void, before you know it, you're on an autonomous, happy place that's never gonna end, because you continue to do the stuff that you love to do, that makes you feel at ease, comfortable, make you feel you.
Yeah, and when you express that too, like, people will notice.
Yeah,
like,
people will notice.
People notice to a point where they will see something that's related to it and just think of you.
Yeah,
and nothing. Like, every time someone passes by a Buc-ee's on a drive, they always think of me, because literally half of my wardrobe is Buc-ee's at this point.
You go to Buc-ee's a lot?
I don't go a lot, but when I do, I spend a lot on like shirts and food and stuff, because Buc-ee's is fucking good. Like,
I need to go to Buc-ee's. Where's the nearest Buc-ee here in South Florida?
Nowhere in South Florida. The nearest one's in Daytona.
Oh shit! So it's up north, Smith, Florida.
Yeah. So literally, when I went to a little Texas show, I got off work, I relaxed a little bit to regenerate my body, and then I drove up. And normally I would get off around on I-95, like mile marker like 200. There's like an exit right there that leads to Orlando. I said, screw that. I'm going to go north a little bit more to Buc-ee's because I have time. And literally, I got some beef jerky there, a couple of new shirts. I was hungry, so I got a pulled pork sandwich, which are surprisingly fucking good.
Yo.
Yeah. And just like a few little extra things that I just kind of wanted for myself. And I'm not telling you the price, but it's worth it.
Oh, great. Thank you for letting me know.
No, it's worth it because you're in there for so long and you see this and then this. But I also did.
No, it's one of those places.
But I also did kind of get money, some stuff for friends, so that kind of added on to it.
Okay.
But no, it's overall it's still good. And people just associate Buc-ee's with me now because I always talk about it. They'll see me and I'm usually if I'm not wearing a Buc-ee's shirt, I'm wearing like a Buc-ee's bandana on my head. Like people see Buc-ee's and they'll just think of me.
Of course.
And it's just but that's because it's an interest that I have and I'm able to express it so freely.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't. It's one of those things that just doesn't harm people. It's just casual. It's just casual fun. I probably had because there's people driving the Lost Lanes now. I probably had 4 people today that just sent me something Buc-ee's related, like a picture, and I'm just like, Buc-ee's,
yo,
let's go.
That's pretty dope, man. That's pretty dope to hear these type of stories, man. This is what I fight for, man. Listening to these cool ass stories, man, and stuff that we can all relate to something, and I enjoy it.
Because at the end of the day, a lot of us are in the music industry, and that's all people know us for. But we're we're so much more than just what we see on on Twitter or on Facebook or on social or on social media. You take the show, if you take the show aspect of the music industry, the actual going to see people at shows, depending on who they are, they could have either a lot of substance or no substance at all.
Right.
But it's stuff like this is nice to be able to. It's nice to be able to get transparency between artists or a figure and the person behind it. So a lot of times like people don't know like all the backstories, and it's just like cool to hear like their inspirations for what they do out in the world based on what they do in like their personal life.
Yeah, and it's always important for people to know these stories, because you don't know what some of these people have gone to where they are, and you don't know their life stories, and you put them on this pedestals indicating like, yeah, like these guys cannot do no wrong, but before you know it, like you hear their stories, their what goes behind the scenes, you'll be like, what the fuck, and
shout out to Bass Nectar for being a piece of shit.
Yeah, Bass Nectar, that's sick, all those guys. Thank you for letting us know that you guys really exist out there, and it's good to talk about these type of shit, bro, because people assume that this shit doesn't happen, and you're like, no, like the industry is not peaches. The industry is not peaches and cream, man. Like, no, a lot of foul shit happens, bro. Like,
it's all a matter of who you know well enough to trust to be able to stick around with for a while.
Yeah.
Like there's some people in South Florida that like, like I'll hang out with them after or like outside of a show, and like you could see that they are like, genuinely good people. Like you want to hang out with some of these people outside of a show function. And it's like you show them like something you wanted, like you're interested in, they show you something that they're interested in. And then that's how the scene kind of culminates together. But when you put one person on a pedestal like that,
mm-hmm.
you just completely devalue that they are like a person behind the craft.
Yeah.
Like people, I think one of the biggest examples I can think of is people giving Borgor so much shit for his like lyricism and like, all that stuff that's just like overly like sexual.
Mm-hmm.
This man doesn't do anything. Like he'll listen to jazz, like he'll play like the piano, like on occasion. He has a wife, I'm pretty sure now. Like he's still like he is very low key about his life, but in like the good way. Like his like Borgor alias is just like
it's fake.
It's a fake persona, but in like a good fake persona that you can kind of get behind because it's like not real.
Exactly.
Like he's not an overtly sexual piece of shit.
And that he doesn't grope any women or he doesn't do anything outside of that shit, even though the women will twerk their asses off to his faces, he doesn't go anything above and beyond just by all right, you can twerk my face. Yeah, I see ass in my face. I don't do anything outside of that.
Yeah, I think one of my Borgor memories that I remember having was he played Miami Music Week. I think it was 2016. He did it at Heart or somewhere. I forget where.
I think it was hard because I was.
I think it was. Yeah. And I remember he played his main set in the main room, but upstairs he did a throwback set.
Yeah. I went to
I remember going to that, and I was front row because it's like I love old school dubstep, and I remember hearing that, and I was like freaking the fuck out in the front. Like I was the only one that was just like in the front row that was just like eyeing the songs and like just freaking out. I was like, what the fuck?
Yo.
And so I go downstairs like just to kind of escape a little bit. And I end up running into him like before he goes in like the VIP area. And so I tell him, I was like, that old school dubstep set was probably the thing that I actually needed, right? Like, cause that was one of the best, like, that was one of like the best times that I've had like at a dubstep show in like so long. And this man, like, he turns around in like a freak out motion And and then he circles back to me and was like, you don't know how much I needed to hear something like that. You don't get the, like, you know, people always say it's like, oh, like the sexual part of it, but no one talks about like the other stuff, like with him.
Yeah.
Which I think people do forget is like there's so much to just one specific thing to a person that makes them who they are. And so like I told him that, and he was like I said, he was like, you don't know how much it means for me to actually hear that. So it's one of those things, again, like more to a person.
I agree. And sometimes you need sometimes they just need to be treated like a regular person. Like they need to be treated like humans, you know, because we put in such pedestals that they sometimes feel like they can never escape this fake world. And then when you have then a nice conversation with these guys, they become like they become so relieved. It's like, thank you for not talking about anything that's related to my music. Let's talk about other shit. Yes. My God, tell me more.
Like shit, I went to last year I went to a wedding, and I was like, most weddings I would just be like, all right, cool, I get to hang out with people. This was for a good friend of mine, Zoe, who married Excision's brother. So I knew it was going to be a special event because somehow I got invited to it.
Somehow?
No, I'm just
goddamn.
No, I'm just kidding. I've known Zoe for a long time, and I introduced both of them together. Oh. So I am forever accredited with the fact that I caused that marriage. But you have like people like Excision was there, obviously. Dion was there, Sullivan King was there.
Wow.
A lot of people on like the Excision team were there. And the best part of all of it was none of us talked music to each other. It was all just like shits and giggles talk. And I also forgot how short Jeff is compared to me.
Yeah, he's definitely a short person. And
he's just a little bit shorter than me, but it's whatever. Like he's still doing big things.
That's just funny, bro, because he looks big. In the pictures, the video, he looks big. He does things that are big, and then when you see next to him, it's like, what the fuck? When did you ever became small? The fuck?
Yeah, it's always funny to see, like, you know, like when you actually get to meet some of these people in person, like the height comparison, or like figuring out what their name is, and it's just like the most basic name ever.
Right.
Like you have Sudden Death and then Danny.
Yeah.
What's another good one that's like weird like that?
You got my boys Josh and Pat from Mode Step.
Yep.
Josh and Pat. That's it. That's their names. You got you got fucking Skrillex, and he's Sonny.
And then Downlink is Sean. Dion Timmer is Dion Timmer.
For some reason, but yeah.
He's got a cool name, I'll let it slide.
Yeah, dude, you got all these sick names, and then you hear their human names, and you're like, oh, so you're a Darren. Who would have thought? I can see why you're so and so now.
Yeah, like it's always funny to see people like especially on Twitter, they're like, it's like, why are you using like so and so's real name or whatever? It's like you don't even know them. And then I could just literally pull up a picture of me and them together, and I'll just be like, I kind of do know them. I am on that level with them. Like, not many people could say they got a picture with Excision and, you know, Emma and all them. No one can say they got a picture with them at a wedding.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's like, I'm on that close of a level with them to where if anyone says like, oh, you can't say that, I'm like, yeah, I can. You want to see?
That's how I am with Mold Step, with Infinite, Needy, especially Needy. Needy's my brother, man. Like everybody knows Needy as Nitty Gritty. I know him as Ricky Mears. Richard Mears Cook the Fourth, to be precise.
Richard Mears. That's a fucking long ass name.
Yeah, what do you expect? He's a white boy from Pennsylvania. What do you expect?
True, they usually have like three different names.
Yeah, and mind you, he's the fourth.
There is a fourth one of him.
I love you, Ricky. So yeah, like it's
shout out to Ricky number 4.
Yeah, Ricky number 4, Ricky Schmears.
Pretty soon there's gonna be a Ricky number 5, and it's just gonna come out with a banger.
I did not say that, Ricky. I did not say that. All right, that's between you and Gigi. Okay, I'm not promoting. That's up to you, baby.
Baby comes out and just has a number 1 hit single on Beatport.
Hey, it's possible. It's fucking possible. I mean, if you ever had a chance to have a sit down with Needy, you can see his flow process of how he makes his music. Like, dude's a beast.
That dude's cracked. Like, because he produces not only for like himself, but like other people, like ghost producing for other people. And it's just like shit. Like
he does music
like
for Diplo.
The recognition's there. Like he definitely deserves where he needs to be.
Absolutely. That's why I praise him a lot. That's why I always tell him, like, dude, you're gonna be bigger than fucking Skrillex. Like the fact that you got Grammy nominees, it already tells me you're already in that fucking level.
Now he just needs to win 1 or 2 so we can be at like that level. Do it, Ricky.
Do it. Fucking his side project.
We trust you.
His side project, side piece with Party Favor, like got fucking Grammy nominated, almost won. I forgot.
Yeah,
I forgot who won on that nomination, but I feel like that's a bullshit call. Like they should have given it to them. But regardless, maybe it was my biased opinion at that point. But yeah, dude, like he's already on a Grammy nominee level. Like as a producer, like come on, bro.
Not many people are Grammy nominated. Like
no,
in the electronic industry, not many people are Grammy nominated.
Exactly, and not many people can do what he can. Like he can be nitty gritty, and he can be side piece, and he can also be a producer to many of these industry big superstars. Like
it's crazy.
Like it's crazy, yo. It's crazy, and I was intrigued how he actually how he starts all his fucking project sessions, and I always look at it, I'm like, one day I want to have your brain, and then
just for
one day, because I'm pretty sure in one day I'll make an album, and from that album I'll be able to spread around my tracks through time. Just one day. That's all I need. Just one day, bro.
Yeah, like it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, motherfucker is cracked. I don't know how he does it. I admire him. Like kudos for you, brother. Yeah, but what's your creative process when it comes to making music and shit like that?
When it comes to making music, I have no idea. I just started not too long ago making it. Mixing it though is a whole different story.
So you actually started making music not too long ago. All this time you were just a bass DJ.
Yeah, but a damn good one at that.
I can't. Hey, I give credit where credit is due. But for the longest time, I always thought that you make some rhythm shit, bro. I never knew that you just started just recently. I was like, damn.
Yeah, no, my thing is that I love I can admire production and like the producers for what they do, but I love the live aspect of it more. I love the technical aspects of mixing and figuring out all these different things that work together. So, like, we'll take it with drum and bass, for example. Like, there are times, like, my favorite thing is especially if I have 4 decks, just going one after another of constant doubles and blends and stuff like that. And it works seamlessly.
Yeah.
Like, there is just it feels like what is a seamless flow to, like, comparative to, like, you know, build-ups, drops. Like, there will be sections where it will just be drop, and then, like, another build-up after that.
Right.
Like, as, like, a break kind of thing. But it's all just, at the end of the day, like, just having the ear for what sounds good. Like, it's one of those things where it's just like, you think these 2 songs could work, but a lot of the times people try doubles and they're like off key, or they make something and it's off key and it doesn't work. It's one of those things that you just kind of have to practice over and over again and figure out what it is. Now, and especially with my USBs though, I specifically don't have what keys they are. Like, I specifically do, like, I have it all laid out, like gridded and all that stuff, but you cannot find where the key is anywhere, just because I want to be able to test myself and be like, all right, what sounds good? Like, and I'm looking through, queuing up stuff.
Right.
And that's all what it is at the end of the day, is just having an ear to, like, be able to listen at something and just be like, hey, this works. Like, I could have one song and have 7 different songs that can go well with it at any given time.
Right.
And then that song will have, like, another 5 or 6, and then that song will have another X amount. So where it just goes that well.
That's basically how most of my sets, you know, are. Like, I always pre-construct my sets, do a pre-playlist, and I start, like, splashing all the songs that I want, and I start listening one by one, and I'm like, okay, this song goes along with this song goes with this. And then once I do have you know, my playlist, the funny thing of how I do it, I do this subconsciously. Funny thing is like, all right, I got the songs how I want it. I can play this from beginning to end in order. It'll be good. And if I feel like in one moment people are not fucking with it, I can jump orders and go and come back and forth and get the people crowded. And it works.
Like, my thing with like how I set my playlist is very chaotic. I just have a genre, I just put it in there, and then I just go from there. I don't have it set. I don't have, like, oh, we're going to play, like, these songs in this set, or we're going to play it. I don't have, like, a set list or anything. I just, genre, all right, go. Like, that's it. It gets hard at sometimes trying to, like, remember where specific songs are.
Right.
But you do it for so long where it's just like, oh, okay, like, that song's further up in the playlist, or that song's further down. All just depends on whenever I added it. And I usually can accumulate it. So whenever I release the mix, there's, like, specific songs that I get for that time period. That's like, all right, that's where that was, like, this area in the playlist. And so I'm able to, like, quickly look and just see, like, constantly, like, all right, I have this song playing with this song doing a build up, and I'm looking through another, like, as it's going before the drop. It's just constantly focused on the decks. Like there are times where I'll look up at points, like, for, like, a little bit, just to, like, go, like, you know, hey, and then quickly look back down, which is almost why I almost never get on the mic. Like, most of my sets is just, like, focused on that, where I'll forget to kind of grab the mic and do, like, a quick 3, 2, 1 kind of thing. It's, at least in drum and bass, it's hard to do that.
Yeah, drum and bass, unless you have someone else to help you out, like having an MC, it's kind of hard for you to do it by yourself.
Yeah,
And sometimes on dubstep too, like if you're doing like the what you call it, chopping and crap. So it's kind of, and then when you're switching songs, it's sometimes very hard to get them, especially when you're heavily focused on the deaths. That's the thing. When you're heavily focused on the deaths and you're mixing and doing a bunch of shit, you forgot that you got a crowd, but you're just like getting into it,
Yeah. And I know people are, especially in the States though, speaking of MCs, like some just don't like MC culture in the States. Like when I went to London earlier this year, I made it a mission to go to a show at a London nightclub. And lo and behold, there was a drum and bass event. So I was like, all right, perfect, going there. And I remember specifically telling my parents, it's like, because I went with family, I was like, we can do whatever we want on this trip. One night is my night to go to a show of whatever I choose. And they're like, all right, cool, have fun. So I went there, and from 10 o'clock to when they opened to like, it went on till 6, but I stayed till like 3:30. It was all drum and bass. All the sets had MCs. There was no like special lighting equipment or like anything grandiose like you see at like main stage, like modern festivals.
Yeah.
There was like a few screens, like a few lights and stuff. Probably one of the best shows I've ever been to though. But you have the MC culture that they have out there. Not something I don't think is going to be relevant in the States anytime soon.
Yeah, most of the time the emceeing on some certain shows is like, it's not the way to go, and it doesn't and it doesn't stick that far, it is, for some reason it doesn't, unless you're like the rapper or the MC who sang on set song or whatnot, it's like having an MC to go on top of your drum and bass or your dubstep, and you're trying to enjoy it, and they're like doing their shit. Like, I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. Let me hear my shit,
Yeah, but that's just how their culture is over there. It's just a cultural difference.
Have you heard of the open format DJs? Bro, sometimes some of these open format DJs piss me off, bro, because you're not just the open format DJs, more like the hip hop DJs. They piss the fuck out of me. The hip hops and the dancehall DJs, they fucking go ahead and say something every fucking 20 seconds. They play a song and then I'm sorry, make some noise for this and that. And then when the drop of the song hits and they start going, come on, let's go. I'm like, dude, fucking shut the fuck up. Let me hear it.
Shout out to the Ritz MC for always doing that. Anyway.
Yeah.
but no, like when it comes to stuff like that, if it's not like specifically like, on that level to where it's like, hey, if it's not like something that is just widely known in that area, like they're not going to enjoy it. Now, like I said, for a lot of D&B culture in the UK, that's what they do, especially in those like darkly lit rooms, because a lot of them do have their own, like in their like regular productions, like they rap over all this stuff, but they can also like freestyle rap over something that doesn't have words.
Right.
And that's where it kind of, depending on who you are, just kind of merges well together.
Yeah. It's all very dependent, dependent of the flow of what people are feeling and how good you really are on it. It's good to do it, but it's like it's not something that I will expect to catch on anytime soon.
Not in the States, at least.
Yeah, no, not in the States. Unless you're a virus syndicate, man. I just don't see it.
Yeah, you would have to be, or unless you are the one that actually is on the vocals and doing it.
Yeah, that's the perfect time.
The perfect example of this is Coven, because
I fucking love Coven. She's amazing.
Yeah, Katie does she does awesome. Like in her like every time I see like the live streams or like videos or whatever, like you can tell she's putting in the work for two people, and she is doing the work for two people.
It's her and someone else, right?
Yeah, Katie and Max is the other guy's name.
Max is like what, the producer or the?
He mostly does a lot of the production and the back end aspect.
And she does like the singing and the DJing.
Yeah, and it got to that point because it used to be both of them together, but Max over time just got severe travel anxiety to where he just couldn't do it, and he just couldn't go out and do that stuff anymore.
Sounds like Barely Alive.
Yeah, with
it's Matt and Willie.
With Matt, yeah,
with Matt,
and a lot of people don't realize that, you know, especially like Barely Alive and Coven. A lot of people don't realize that they're a duo.
Yeah, and they don't, and at the same time they don't do a very good job on portraying like, yeah, we're two people, you know.
I mean, Coven does in a sense that
same goes with Modestep. Modestep is a live band, you know. Josh and Pat are Modestep, but Josh is the one who mostly does the imaging, the DJ sets and the music.
Yeah.
Pat is just a drummer, you know.
Yeah. It just sucks when you see like these duos that are like together and then only one of them gets the credit. But sometimes that's just how it happens with however the duo is.
Yeah.
Like, and I know Coven does a really good job at making sure that both of them get the credit they do deserve.
Yeah.
Because even in interviews or whatever, whenever Katie does them, she always prefaces with that they are a duo. And she always talks about Max and all that. So as long as there's that representation of like, hey, like we still are a duo, like it's okay if one of them is the face as long as they're both kind of sharing that success.
And I hope that they continue on with that, you know. I'm so looking forward to COVID and all of her future projects, man, because I am waiting for the day.
I'm waiting for the day they come to Florida.
Bro, please DM me if they ever come to Florida, because I definitely want to go to her show.
Oh, you'll see it on like all of my social media, like on my Instagram and Twitter and whatever. I'll just be like,
if I forget,
I will literally be freaking the fuck out.
I forget. Let me know, bro, because I definitely want to see her and I want to meet her.
Yeah, because their logo, like that little like square, like triangle thing, whatever.
Yeah,
that was actually going to be my next tattoo if I wanted to get one before Lost Lands, but didn't have the time for that. After Lost Lands, after I recover,
after all that stuff, after
I financially recover,
then we can add something right here, you know.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty dope, man. I just got a few more things and we can wrap this up, man. Because I gotta go to work tomorrow.
I gotta wake up at 4 a.m. tomorrow, so I feel you there, bud.
Yo, you wildin', man. You're wildin' that you stayed this late with me. Damn, you wildin', bro.
Dude, I don't sleep. I will be in my bed at like 10:30, 11, still watching stuff, knowing I have to work at 5 a.m. the next day.
You like, wildin', bro.
No. I still have to eat. I still have to eat too.
Yeah, of course. Why is it that you actually chose to name yourself Terminal Velocity? Like, where's the small little origins from that?
So that came about, I want to say 2014 or 2015, somewhere around there. And believe it or not, it was because of skydiving.
What?
Yeah, I went skydiving with my dad and my two brothers. And as you jump out of a plane to your near death, I every now and then, like, I'll envision like just music just going on in my head. And a lot of the times it was drum and bass because you're going so fast.
Right.
And so after we go skydiving, like we get there and like I was still using my regular name as like my DJ name. And my dad, after we went skydiving, was like, how about you change your name to Terminal Velocity since you like this kind of stuff? And I'm like, oh, that seems like a good idea. And it just stuck ever since. It just stuck ever since.
Why not? I like to hear the Batman origins, man. That's dope.
Yeah, and it fits now more than ever, being that I am drum and bass and like the hard dance and like
kind of makes sense now. Now it's all wholesome.
It fits. It's the whole 360 moment once again.
Yeah, once again. That's fucking dope. What are your greatest accomplishments, and what do you hope to accomplish by in the future?
I would say, as far as if we're talking just the music stuff, definitely the greatest accomplishment so far would be getting to open up for Excision at Sunset Cove. Because it was I specifically remember that is one of the few times that an Excision show had locals.
Mm-hmm.
And I was one of the few that got to play. And there's video of it somewhere out there where I was playing, and then out of nowhere, you just casually see Excision walking out to say what's up to me. Because I had known him for I've known him for so long. He knows who I am. He knew I did music stuff.
Right.
And so he heard that I was playing, and he just like casually, not many people were like in the actual venue yet. And he comes up and was like, hey, what's up? So definitely that one is the biggest moment of my career, soon to be overshadowed by Sunday.
That's fucking dope. And what do you hope to accomplish now in the future?
Honestly, I'm just hoping to see how far we could take drum and bass. Like, if I have to be one of the Florida like faces of it, of this like modern, like the more drum and bass of like current,
right?
Then I'll at least be leaving something behind. Because you only have so many people that spin drum and bass. But a lot of the times they kind of just mix it in with like everything else.
Right. Like me.
There's only so few people that will be able to go up, fully spin a drum and bass set, not get bored, and keep a crowd entertained. And so if I become that DJ that does that for like this, let's say like this generation of like a few years or so, then I'll at least know that I've done something right. If I could slowly convert everyone into getting there, then we're good. Like, that's all I care about.
Fucking fire. I'm looking forward to it, my man. And we got one more question and we can wrap it up from here, man. But before we do, this is the section in which I lead people to ask me something about me, or ask me something about me in the industry, or something about the industry that you're not aware, or that you think you know or you don't know, but you want to hear some concrete answers around it. This is a section in which I let every interviewer just ask me anything about it. I'm an open book. Is there anything in particular you want to ask me about?
Okay. So like I mentioned earlier, how I get a lot of my musical inspiration from like Dance Dance Revolution and like video games that have that kind of stuff. What would you say is your musical inspiration? Like, what would be your DDR that made you fall in, not necessarily produce it, but fall in love with the stuff you listen to today?
Mostly I have to give it to me watching anime shows, because I was born in 89. So I grew up with 90s anime, early 2000s anime. So sometimes their openings and endings were fucking fire. And then leading up to that, I started listening to Tiesto, as when Tiesto was into trance. That got me inspired to listening to music. And my whole life was all to be fair, my whole life I was taught to listen all sorts of music, and once I got to my adult stage, I became much more open to listen all sorts of genres and listen to my old stuff that I used to listen, and even and what I love to listen every day. Like I love listening to dubstep every other day, but not every fucking day. I love
Yeah.
producing dubstep of all sorts of genres, of course. What got me into making dubstep, to be honest, is Ricky Mears. Nitty. Nitty got me into making dubstep, to be honest. And that's why I do dubstep nowadays. It's because of him. He saw that I had some potential because I was making progressive house. At one point, I thought that progressive house was becoming much more stale, and I didn't have any more of that excitement. And then he introduced me to melodic dubstep, and since then, I have never let go. And that's what I do now. Now I'm so happy that I'm doing lots of projects. I'm formulating my EP or EPs because it's a two-part EP, and doing these amazing collabs with Mantic and Infinite, which I never thought I would ever make. And it made me so happy that they were down to make these certain projects. And now I'm doing just projects that makes me happy overall.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole point. Like do it when it makes you happy, and do it when you actually feel like doing it. Not like I used to do it before, that I was like I had to do it because it was the only way for me to be noticeable in the industry. It was the only way for me to get all the stuff that I want to do in the industry. Like I learned halfway through the industry that that's just one way. There are multiple routes. The podcast is one of those routes that I chose to, and then I'm making this. That's when I come back to making music again. And now, I'm excited to be releasing some of the songs later down the future. Don't know where. Maybe I'm myself. Maybe I'm We Are Dejected. Who knows? I don't know. I just know that I'm right now in a state that music is not my priority. It's podcast. Podcast is my thing. Podcast is what's gonna take me to the next level. And I can be doing this. I can be doing this for. I see longevity. I can be doing this for 40 fucking years from now, and I'm still happy of doing this. And this is not gonna be my only podcast. I'm definitely gonna build a second podcast that's gonna be mostly just talking nonstop shit to somebody, with somebody, having it as a co-host, and we're just like talking about facts of life and shit that happens every week. With all the stuff that we're surrounded by and whatnot. It's just a generic podcast. And I know I'm gonna have a third one, which is gonna be more strictly for live sets, like the radio shows, like having all sorts of artists playing their own sets for an hour or two, just play your thing. Let's say this week we got Terminal Velocity. Next week we got so and so and so and so. Oh, Wolfson's doing a house set for fuck no reasons. Next week it's gonna be a detox set where he's gonna play old school music. That set is gonna be just bass and shit like that.
Yeah.
It's like it's a brand that I see myself, that I know I'm gonna dominate to. But if there's anything that I have to give my props to, it will have to be DJing when I was 15, listening to anime music, and then having Ricky make me see the light to see dubstep as like my one and truly love to make shit. That's basically it. I mean, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that does. Because it gives me more, like I said, it gives more of the backstory of where you started and how you started.
Yeah. I just give like that little brief summary of how everything really started, and where I am and where am I heading to.
Yeah.
What's the future holds me. A lot of things are holding the future. We're still too early. A lot of cool things is going to happen, so I'm just looking forward for the journey.
That's all you can do is hope for the ride.
Absolutely.
It ain't about where you're going. It's about how you're getting there.
It's about how you're getting there, man. And enjoy the ride. Enjoy, because once you're there to the finish line, that's it, man. Like you did it, you made it. Now, like everything else is just like walk on water. Before it's like, oh man, kind of missed the excitement of doing this, and that.
Yeah, like that's why, like, especially like I'd kind of just set the goal of making it like, obviously you want to make it big in the industry, but I have no time frame of getting there, because as long as you're doing every show and you like doing every show, that's what's going to matter at the end. Because once you treat it like a job and not like a hobby, it becomes something you hate.
Exactly. You couldn't say it any better, man. Let me ask you this last question, and we can wrap it up. Now that for the viewers and the listeners, that they're looking for some sort of advice, and I give them 3 different types of advice. What free advice would you give to somebody when they're starting out?
When they're starting out?
Yeah.
If I could give anyone 3 things of advice, the first thing is, more so than ever, just don't take things too seriously and have fun with it. Like I just said, the second it becomes a job or a chore is when it's going to start taking a toll.
Yeah.
Like, it's at the end of the day, we're all people who just make stupid beep boop noises and mix stupid music on out in the crowd. Nothing is ever that serious. The second thing I would say is definitely practice. Like, there's no way around it. Like, especially if you want to get to, like, I have a lot of people that always like say like, how the hell do you do like all these crazy things? I'm like, I'm literally practicing every other time, like new routines and new things.
Right.
And the last thing, which goes both in the music industry and in real life, is just be 100% you. Like,
be authentic.
Anyone, you want to be authentic. Like, the second someone notices that you aren't 100% authentic is when you're going to start getting called out on stuff. If you know everything you do is 100% you, authentic, like your brand, your vision, everything else is going to follow suit.
I agree.
I probably would not have gotten half of the stuff I've gotten if it wasn't for me being like some piece of shit who like kind of fakes his way towards everything. No, like, a lot of the stuff I did get was just because I'm just me as a person. I knew the right people kind of thing. So when you are yourself and you do these things for yourself, that's when everyone's going to start noticing. And that just applies to like real life as well.
Fucking dope, man. My dude, thank you very much for coming over to the show, man. I really enjoy having this conversation with you, man. I really legit enjoyed it. And you're a friend of the show, man. Whenever you want to come back, man, and kick it with me, man, again, let's do it, man. Let's fucking do it again, man.
I'm down for it, man.
Before we leave, man, plug yourself out. Let the people know where they can follow you and what they can expect from you in the future.
So at Twitter and Instagram is the same handle. It's TERVEL USA. It's just a shortened version of saying Terminal Velocity USA. SoundCloud, same thing at the URL, as the URL is TERVEL USA. And that's where I just post like a lot of mixes and stuff. Instagram, I just post stupid shit on my stories. Twitter is just where stupid shit that I just say.
Yeah.
Other than that, like, yeah, those are like the 3 main things. TikTok, if you want to do that to see my stupid ass make random cringy shit. It's all, and once you find once you find like the Twitter or Instagram, like the rest of the links are there. I have like a link tree on all of them.
That's dope. You guys heard it, guys. Thank you very much, Terminal Velocity, for coming over to the show, man. And thank you guys for listening. Remember, every week it's a brand new episode with a brand new topic. So always remember to like and subscribe for your weekly episodes at the Lone Wolv Podcast for SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. And of course, the YouTube channel where you can check the full version and video version of these episodes at youtube.com/the Lone Wolv Podcast. That's my URL, guys. You can always look me up at lonewolfpodcast.com. Comment down below. Let me hear your thoughts. Share your experiences. If you guys got a specific topic that you want me to cover or you want Terminal Velocity to cover, please let us know in the comments down below. And we'll do our best to talk about it on the next episode. So thank you guys for tuning in. And we'll see you guys at the next one. All right? Peace.